Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Wanda Curley, your authority on project, program, and portfolio management. I'm glad to see you here today. And this is brought to you by PM Powered, your consulting company on project, portfolio, and program needs. So without further ado, let me get going. Project management is 50 years old this year. So happy birthday to PMI or happy anniversary, whichever way you want to look at it. But they released there are two magazines, PM Network and PMI Today. So I thought I'd go over the great nuggets that they have in each one. PMI Today, which I'll talk about second, actually talks about the 50th anniversary for PMI. So I'll talk about that in just a minute. But before we go to that, let's go to PM Network. And I'll go over some of the nuggets they have in there and some of the good statistics they have. So the first thing they have, which I talk about it a lot, is IoT. So they talk about the IoT takeover, and they say artificial intelligence and robotic projects may be grabbing headlines around the globe, but a recent survey of tech leaders shows that it's Internet of Things projects that are most likely to shape an organization's portfolio and potentially transform business. So that's interesting. So we talk about AI and IoT, but project management, the PMI is saying that actually IoT is going to be the big thing in 2019 and there in 2020. So they say by 2021, respondents said the following technologies will. So IoT will drive the greatest business transformation. They say 17%, AI 13%, robotics 10%. For enable the next indispensable consumer technology, IoT 17%, AI 13%, and robotics 8%. Drive the greatest benefit to live society and the environment, IoT 14%, AI 12%, and robotics 10%. So that's kind of interesting that IoT is 17% or 14% in all those drivers, whereas AI is close on its heels, but not quite there, and then robotics is a kind of a distant third. So worldwide IoT spending will total 1.1 trillion US dollars by 2021. Again, that's 1.1 trillion US dollars. That's a lot of money. So there's a lot of projects in that area. So IoT project hotspots, global tech leaders say the countries most expected to use IoT to drive business transformation over the next 3 years are United Kingdom 21%, Japan 20%, United States 16%, China 13%, and India 8%. United States, you should be listening. You shouldn't be 16%. You should be up in the 20% drivers. But unfortunately, the United States is at 16%. Top challenges. The number one challenge is technology complexity. Complexity is always a driver in these types of projects. So project managers, beware, understand the complexity of your project. The second one is risk management. Again, risk management needs to be looked at all of these and managed on a weekly basis, not a monthly or do it once and leave it. And third is security. Security is always a big thing, so you need to understand the security around your project. Okay, so let's now go to the next thing. There's many articles that I'm not going to talk about in here, but there was one that kind of caught my eye. So if you're in construction, beware. So permit power. If you know about the La Sagrada Familia, which is the basilica that's being built in Barcelona, it was started by Gaudí in 1926. It's still being built, and it's not expected to be finished until 2026. So they're going to do it on its 100th anniversary. But recently, the city of Barcelona said that your permits are out of date and they need to bring them up to date, or else they'll have to stop construction. With the fines and the permits, it's coming out to $426 million US dollars. So beware on construction projects that you have the correct permits, or you will be fined and no matter what country you're in. So again, don't let it come to $426 million like Sagrada Familia did, because the project managers did not look at if their permits were still in date. So I just found that tidbit of good information on that one. So let's talk about global R&D. So the R&D race, what does PM Network have to say? R&D can be the lifeblood of innovative initiatives. And in October, PwC study shows that across almost all regions and industry, the blood is pumping. 11% global increase in corporate R&D spending in 2018, totaling $782 US billion. That's billion with a B. So North America is up 7.8%. Europe is up 14%. China is up 34%. Can you believe that? 34%. You need to listen, United States and Europe. You need to increase your R&D to catch up with China. And Japan is up 9.3%. So PwC analysts found that these characteristics underpin high performance at innovative companies. Number one, they rigorously control project selection early in the innovation process. So portfolio managers, listen up. You need to select the correct projects. Number two, they closely align innovation strategy with business strategy. Listen up. If the project you're working on doesn't align with business strategy, you shouldn't be on it. So listen up, project managers. Make sure that they align. Three, they create company-wide cultural support for innovation. Innovation is the key to everything, so make sure that your project is innovative. If not, you should be looking for a different project. Number four, their top leadership is closely involved with innovative programs. If you don't have leadership involved with your project, then you need to be understanding why. Maybe they don't know that your project exists and they should be on it. Maybe you haven't been the squeaky wheel. So make sure that you have leadership involved with your project. And number five, they base innovation on direct insights from end users. So end users should be involved in your projects. If not, you should understand why they're not, because if your end users don't understand what your project is all about, how will they embrace it once it's not a project anymore and it's been provided to the end user? So that's just things to think about when you talk about R&D. R&D is vital to countries, to companies, and it should be number one in companies so that they can stay ahead of everything that's going on. Technology is changing. So, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. So speaking about R&D, so here's the 2019 jobs report, where the action is. So let's go over a few countries and talk about that. Excuse me. So let's talk about the United Kingdom. So at a glance, their 2019 GDP growth forecast is 15%. That's pretty good. Median project professional salary is $81,227 US dollars. The sectors to watch is IT, construction, and transportation. So the next country is Mexico. At a glance, 2019 growth forecast is 2.5%. Median project salary is $1,904 US dollars. Sectors to watch is energy, telecom, transportation, and IT. The next country is Brazil. Its 2019 GDP growth forecast is 2.4%. Median project professional salary is $45,114 US dollars. Sectors to watch is energy, IT, telecom, and infrastructure. The next country is the United States. GDP 2019 growth forecast is 2.5%. Median project professional salary is $112,000 US dollars. Sectors to watch is IT, construction, and healthcare. The next country is India, 2019 GDP growth forecast is 7.4%. Median project professional salary is $25,959 US. Sectors to watch are IT, transportation, and the financial services. The next country, is Nigeria, and their 2019 GDP growth forecast is 2.3%. Median project professional salary is $21,498 US. Sectors to watch is agriculture, transportation, mining, manufacturing, and energy. And China, GDP growth forecast is 6.2%. Median project professional salary is $29,040 US. Sectors to watch are IT, finance, manufacturing, and transportation. Germany, 2019 GDP growth forecast is 1.9%. Median project professional salary is $88,449. Sectors to watch are banking, healthcare, IT, and finance. So let's talk about some of the sectors that are going to be in demand in the coming several years. So we've talked about some of them with the countries that we talked about, but stay tuned for construction, human resources, cybersecurity, energy, healthcare, and finance. All of these will be hiring in the future, no matter what country you're in. So be aware of those. So let's look at some of the skills search. So some of the skills that they'll be looking for in project management are: number one is data science skills. Number two, innovative mindset. Number three, security and privacy knowledge. 4, legal and regulatory compliance knowledge. 5, ability to make data-driven decisions. And 6, collaborative leadership skills. 4 in 5 respondents report that soft skills such as communication, leadership, and negotiation are more important today than they were 5 years ago. 7 in 10 project leaders are either currently using or considering the use of lean agile practices and to manage the impact of disruptive technologies. Money matters. Locations and certifications can have a big impact on salary, and 23% is the average salary increase that holders of project management professional, the PMP certification, earn compared to those without it. The countries with the highest median salaries for project management professionals, all salaries have been converted in US dollars. Switzerland, $130,966. United States, $112,000. Australia, $108,593. Germany, $88,449. Netherlands, $86,292. United Arab Emirates, $84,930. New Zealand, $84,480. Qatar, $82,234. United Kingdom, $81,227. And Belgium, $78,035. So how do you get hired in the age of AI or IoT? So some of the things that were recommended in PM Network is: 1, get specific with skills and certification. So strong leadership chops and a great communication style might make someone a better project manager, but showcasing those skills on a resume or LinkedIn profile are very important. So make sure that you have that on LinkedIn and on your resume or CV. The second thing they say is mirror the desired role. So look at the job that you're going for and mirror the words that are in that job. This has been stated for wherever. Don't use just a generic resume. Tailor your resume to the job that you're going for. Number 3, brag about project wins. Nobody will brag about yourself except yourself. So brag about it on your CV, on your resume, and on LinkedIn. So brag and make sure that it's in concrete uh, data so that the people can see what you did. Did you save money on it? Did you bring it in ahead of schedule? Did you do risks that saved money on the project? Make sure that you showcase all of those on your CV and your resume and on LinkedIn. Mind the format. Always use Word documents. Don't you use PDFs because PDFs most likely won't be able to be used by the a tool that HR uses to take out certain words on your resume or CV. So make sure that you use a Word document. Do a trial video. Many of the first encounters that you'll have with a company is a video that you'll have to do. And you need to get comfortable with that format. I know the first time I did it, I was taken by surprise that the interview was like that. And I was very uncomfortable with it. So make sure that you video yourself several times. You can use YouTube or other tools out there. They're free tools to video yourself and talk about yourself. So make sure you do that and understand what you want to do and showcase on your video. That is very important. And many people don't know how to do that and they get very uncomfortable with that. So make sure that you practice not once, not twice, but several times so you get very comfortable with it. So what are some good lessons learned that you can do on your project? Many times project managers forget about lessons learned and they do it at the end of the project, and that's the wrong time. So the tagline on this is want to avoid a retrospective scramble at the end of a project. Create a continuous process for documentation. Absolutely, I say that. You need to do that. So seek feedback sooner rather than later. So ask people constantly their feedback on it. Show appreciation for candid insight. If somebody gives you constructive criticism, thank them profusely for it. That's what you want on your project. You don't want everything to be glowing. You need to understand what didn't work well. 3, be discovering about what's gathered. So do an analysis of what you're gathering and understand what it is so that you can change it on the future part of your project or on other projects that you have. Do a macro analysis of what you're hearing. So use a wider lens, ask questions, make sure that you understand what's going on your project. Respond to resistance. That when you try to change things on the project, you're going to have resistance and you need to be able to explain why you're changing things. So number 4, tailor the structure to the team. So there's no one size fits all approach. So make sure that you're not doing what you're comfortable with, but do what makes sense for the project. So finally, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about on here. And it talks about some books that are being the Project Management Institute said are good reads. So one of them is the PMI Guide to Business Analysis. So if you're going for the business analysis certification, I highly recommend that you read that because there will be questions on the certification about that. Another one is Incentivizing Collaboration BIM enabled projects, a synthesis of agency and behavior approaches. I have not read that and I'm not sure exactly what it's about, but PMI recommends it. And the next one, which I do recommend, is Implementing Project Portfolio Management. If you're looking to get into project portfolio management or you're in project portfolio management, then I highly recommend that you read this. It's by Dr. Tae Woo. He's a PMP, PGMP, and PFMP, and a doctor at Panos Chintspanos. And Dr. Chintspanos wrote it, and he's a professional engineer in RPP. So make sure that you read this book. It should be a good read. I plan to read it in the future. So let's change gears and now go to PMI Today. This is more of a light read than PM Network. And the very first thing is called a 2018 was a pivotal year, the excitement of strategic transformation. 2018, the board of directors decided it was going to be transitional to bring in 2019, which was the 50th anniversary of PMI, and they want to change the way PMI thinks about its membership. So what it's going to do are brought about by the senior leadership and the project board. So they're going to do innovative offerings. They're going to do standards and thought leadership. So some of the places where you can learn about this in the future is if you attend the PM XPO 2018. That is a virtual event, and I highly recommend it. I always attend it. They always have some good speakers and some good tidbits about what's going on at PMI. The 2018 PMI Talent and Technology Symposium, the PMI Organizational Agility Conference, and the the 2018 PMI Annual Virtual Student Summit. So the PMI Board of Directors will be making sure that tidbits about what's going on in 2019 and the changes that you're going to be seeing will be in those areas. So make sure that you're thinking about this. PMI is also partnering with organizations to bring this to light to all of its membership. So where are we at in PMI fact files? There's a total membership of 554,660 members. That's pretty good. And it's in 208 countries and territories. PMI has 296 chartered and 10 potential chapters. CAPM, so in the certifications, there's 36,860. PMPs, there's 889,950. We're getting near to that million mark. PFMPs, there's 625. PGMP, there's 2,517. PMI RMP, there's 5,011. PMI SPs, there's 1,900. PMI PBAs, 3,044. And PMI ACPs, there's 24,728. Publishing, there's 6,185,433 total copies of all editions of the PMBOK guide in circulation. That's amazing to me. So what else is going on in the PMI today? So PMI also says that you need to instill a culture of constant change and innovation. So how do you instill that? They give out 5 things. So one is to invest in continuous learning. I can't emphasize how important learning is and to understand the technologies that are coming aboard. Fully engage employees. Your employees are creative and innovative, so use them. Elevate project leaders to change advocates. They are their change leaders in an organization, so make sure that you use them. 4, create a data-powered enterprise. Data is going to drive projects, and projects are going to drive innovation and creativity in your organization. Eliminate the fear of failure. Projects are going to fail, and that's all right. Just make sure that you're not failing more than you're succeeding in your projects. So then the PMI today also talks about PMI EF scholarships and award recipients. I'm not going to go over that because there's many, many pages of it. So I highly recommend that you read that. So if you're thinking about volunteering as a PMI board of directors, they have 3 pages on what to do. January is the month that you need to be applying for it. So there's quite a bit of work to do that. I've applied twice to the board of directors, and obviously I haven't made it, but I highly recommend. It's a good learning opportunity. So in January, you would fill it out, and there's the call for it, and there's 3 things that you have to complete, and they are a signed candidate acknowledgement form, a completed initial nomination evaluation form, and your curriculum vitae or resume using the approved template. So there is a template that you want to use. And by April, members selected to interview will be notified. So you will be notified in April whether you made it to the next step. And then you have a virtual interview on 26, 27 April. then you will be notified about that. And then if you make it, your name will be put on the ballot, which comes out in July. And there's voting. And they announce the winners at the North America Congress, which happens in October. So that's a good thing to read. It is 3 pages long, and I highly recommend that you read it. So some of the events that are going on in PMI that I'd like to showcase, there's the Seminars World, and that happens 25 to 28 February, and that happens in Scottsdale, Arizona. The 19 to 22 March in New Orleans, Louisiana, 8 to 11 April, Seattle, Washington, 6 to 9 May, Charlotte, North Carolina, 13 to 16 May, Washington, D.C. Then the upcoming PMI event is the PMI EMEA Congress, which happens in Dublin, Ireland, which I think is great, and that's 13 to 15 May. So let's see what else is going on. So then there's different things that the PMI chapters are doing, and that's good things to talk about. In fact, in PMI Venezuela chapter, they're going to have a Congress theme in disruption, which I think is excellent. So next thing, let's jump to Projectified. That's a podcast that's done by PMI. And there were 2 that I want to talk about. One was released in December and one was released in January. And they both have to do with human resources. So the first one in December was talent management and how to fill the project talent gap. You as a project manager need to understand how HR works, and you need to understand what you need to do when you have a talent gap and when you are missing people on your project, and you need to understand how to work with HR. I would highly recommend that you listen to this talent management, how to fill the project talent gap. It's a good listen and gives you some valuable tidbits of information. The next one is Lessons Learned, the Value of Knowledge Transfer. We want to make sure that people don't keep the knowledge they have in their heads. They need to transfer their knowledge to others on the team, because people leave the organization for another organization within the company, or they may leave the company entirely. So make sure that that knowledge transfer doesn't leave. So Roger Forsgren actually talks about this in Lessons Learned on the Value of Knowledge Transfer. So make sure that you listen to that. He is the head of NASA, and he's the chief knowledge, I'm sorry, he's not the head of NASA, he's the chief knowledge officer. And he talks about it, and it's a very good listen. So I highly recommend it. Listen to it, and you'll get some valuable information on that. So I'm Wanda Curley, your authority on project, program, and portfolio information. And this has been brought to you by PM Powered, your consulting company on project, program, and portfolio needs. Please go to PM Current and follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. You'll find a lot of information on that on my previous podcast and my current podcast. If there are things that I've talked about that you have more knowledge on and would like to share, please contact me at wanda@pmpower.com. I'd love to hear from you. Or if there's things that you listened to on previous podcasts and you'd like to discuss, please also contact me at wanda@pmpower.com. I'd love to hear from you because it's great when we have people on the podcast. Again, have a blessed week, and I'll see you next Monday.